To me, it was delightful. Honest to goodness village. There were brick walks that the Village Improvement Society built. Then they had oil lamps on the streets. Nearly everybody in town had half to 1 acre of ground. It was just a delightful atmosphere. I still can't get over it. I still say, I'm going to the village. Nearly every street in Falls Church was arched over with trees. You walked under a bower. That's what made Falls Church so attractive.
Well, during this session, we generally talk about trees forming bowers over streets and special trees. On this segment today, we're going to talk about transitioning from trees that may not be the right trees in the right place, or trees that don't form a bower over the street, to ones that do. And I'll show my humble abode here, where when we purchased our house about 14 years ago, the former owner had planted a lot of trees, was really good-hearted, wanted a lot of trees, but didn't really know a lot about choosing the right tree for the right place. And unfortunately, there were some decisions that were made that we could have done a little better on. When I moved in, I kept the trees, and with hindsight, I wished I hadn't. And now, 10 years later, the trees are a lot larger. They had provided a wonderful canopy for this whole area of the house. In the front yard, the house was very cool. However, we had some problems with some of the trees. And this year, I made the decision to start the transition for the next 10 years. The first thing I had to do, unfortunately, was remove a tree. It's called a Norway maple. It's what some people call a nasty, vile tree. It's gorgeous when you see it. It has a beautiful leaf. As you can figure out, it's not native to here. It's from Norway. It's an invasive tree, which means that when it puts out its seed, they'll grow up all over the place, and they'll overtake our native trees. They also, a word I never pronounce right, but I'll call allopathic or allopathic. Means it puts a poison out in its root to kill other young trees. The tree was so beautiful, I kept it until this year, when I noticed in the adjacent park, Cavalier Trail Park, that a lot of Norway maples were growing up, and I knew that they would overtake and kill the other native maples, native trees, through the poisons in their root system. So I bit the dust, had a certified tree company come in and remove the tree at a stump level, and I have been since plucking off the leaves because they do regenerate. So I had them cut the tree down at about the 10-foot mark, and the reason was in urban environments we don't have literally enough dead wood, and we need more dead wood that's not hazardous to homes and people. For special insects that are beneficial to our life support system, and for woodpeckers and other forms of birds. And so that's actually very important to have dead wood around that's above the ground. Secondly, I made a statement to let people know I did cut down a tree, and it gives a good conversation piece about don't plant Norway maples, no matter what they tell you at the nursery or how beautiful you think they are. They're horrible, horrible trees for this area. What I've done is I've allowed another tree that regenerated on its own, or generated on its own. It's a tulip tree. A lot of people don't like tulip trees, but they can live for 700 years, and in 20 years you have a wonderful tree, if you know what you're doing. They don't like compact soil. This one grew from a tree in the back, the next yard over, seeded, And letting this grow, this will eventually get up to be about 60, 70 feet tall, and this will be the tree of the front yard. And by letting it generate, it'll grow faster than if I spent money at a nursery and planted a tree. This will grow faster than nursery bought trees. And now that the canopy is gone here and the sunlight has come out, this will grow fast and be the main tree. I planted a little red bud over here that will be the understory tree. It's having a tough time because the Norway maple's still putting out its dangerous chemicals. And but it'll, as long as I keep plucking the leaves away that are regenerating from the trunk of the Norway maple, that will stop putting out the poisons, and that red bud will take. I planted the smallest possible tree I can, because when you plant a tree as small as you can, it'll be the strongest possible tree if it survives its infant time. The roots will be very strong in the soil. Another tree that the former owner unfortunately shouldn't have planted was it was a Japanese ornamental cherry. As it sounds, it's not. Of course, it's from Asia, and it's ornamental, and they live about 30 years. People buy them because for 2 weeks a year it comes out with the most gorgeous flower you have, but that's the only benefit. And 30 years later you have a dead and dying tree, which is a very short lifespan. This has fungus all over it. I'm gradually cutting it back. I can't bear to get rid of every tree in my yard right now. I've also planted some understory trees a little too close to where this tulip tree came up, called pawpaw. And pawpaw is a wonderful native tree that will grow under the canopy of this tulip tree. Again, I didn't plant the tulip tree. It came up on its own. It turns out it's a little close to this pawpaw, but they'll both survive. Now, this tulip tree will provide a wonderful canopy over the street, shade the street. It'll shade the house in the morning. But that'll be about 5 years from now. So this is an investment. It's like a monetary investment. It's like investing in your children, watching them grow, taking care of them. It's the same thing with trees. Another couple of trees that were planted by the former owner, I wish he hadn't, but I'm glad he loved trees, but was the blue spruce. These are on their way out. They are native more to Colorado, but they're not native to here, and they get a spruce mite. So please do not plant any blue spruce. These are gradually dying. What I'm going to be doing is these finally die out. There's 2 of them. I'm going to be, I have to cut them down. I'm going to use the trunks for part of a building process. I'm going to put a front porch on the house, and I'm going to use those trunks as the supporting beams. I have to prepare them correctly, of course, but I want to use all the indigenous material on building it. It's going to be a green roof. That means it's going to have sod on the top and native vegetation that'll make the house cooler. It'll make it prettier. It'll also prevent runoff of storm water, and it'll be a complete system. We'll have a cistern there which will catch rainwater from our upper roof of the house and be a complete system. Now finally, I want to talk about the trees that he planted along the edge of the property. He wanted to put a wind screen there, and he planted 6 cedar trees, and they were very tiny when he planted them, and they looked like they're about the right width. Unfortunately, you should know how far apart to plant trees, and they're growing together. They're now actually becoming soon they may be becoming hazard trees. You should have planted 1 tree and let it grow up into a full tree rather than the 6. So when you get these little trees, don't be fooled by make sure you know how big they're going to get. I will have to thin these out now, and I will use the wood for in the construction of the front porch. But they're much too close to each other, and there should have been only 1. In the meantime, some of the understory here, I don't have lawn. Lawn's one of the worst things you can put in a yard for stormwater management. We're having water shortages nowadays here, and lawns are high maintenance. The cheapest thing to put in a yard, but the most expensive to maintain, both in your time and in water costs and in financial costs, actually, in the long range maintenance. I have some shrubs here that will grow tall. They can handle both sun and shade, and they're native. Summer sweet, spice bush, sweet shrub, witch hazel. So the shrubs that I bought are all native. and they serve a number of different functions for the pollinator insects and butterflies, and even help the bird population. So when you start thinking about trees in your yard, think about the long term. Don't just think about if you like a certain flower that's out only 2 weeks a year. Don't think about buying the biggest tree you can, or even the prettiest tree. What's its function? What's role is it going to play? Make sure it doesn't harm your neighbors or the public trees, such as with this Norway maple does. It actually harms other trees. And think of the next 5-10 years of what you're going to do. I'm changing the whole ecosystem of my yard right now. It's in transition. Transition is a difficult period, but think about giving canopy so our future generations and ourselves as we get older can enjoy the canopy or the bower over the street, over our yard, and it provides our whole urban ecosystem a better chance of survival.
Uncle George used to take me down to Mankin's Notions and Dry Goods, a corner store at Broad in Washington, where the office building is now. She always had candy, which was something we couldn't have at home. It was a great treat for me to go to Mrs. Mankin's store and have those marvelous penny candies. Uncle George used to carry me down to the store and get them for me. Mother didn't approve, but he did it just the same. I enjoyed it.
Hi, I'm Mike Diener, and we're at 125 North Washington Street. New to you. Let's check it out. Well, hello, Chris.
Hi, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Nice to see you.
Your store looks great.
Thank you very much.
Would you like to introduce yourself to the audience and tell us about your store?
Sure. My name's Christina Novak, and this is New to You Consignment Boutique. We've been here for 10 years now, right behind Brown's Hardware. And we're on Lee Highway, but almost on the corner of Lee Highway and Route 7 intersection. And we resell women's designer and better clothing and accessories. So what we look for here are women's clothes that are previously owned, and but not necessarily used. We look for really pristine items, good names, designer names, and in excellent condition. We also want to make sure that the items that we take in are really fashionable. So we kind of insult a lot of people because we tell them no a lot. People come in, they very kindly bring in their items, we look them over, but we are really picky, and a lot of times we say no. But our customers that purchase from us always expect to find the best, and that's really what we try to provide.
Do you ever get things from department stores or any other outlets?
I have actually gone up to New York a few times and purchased some items to sell here.
And is it all women's? Is there any children or men's stuff?
We don't do children's clothing at all. Occasionally we'll resell Hermes ties for men, but it's predominantly women's clothing and accessories.
And I see you have jewelry over here too?
Yes, we get wonderful pieces of jewelry. We do fine jewelry as well as signed costume jewelry, vintage jewelry. So sometimes you can find really unique, one-of-a-kind pieces that you don't really find anywhere else.
And purses?
Yes, a lot of designer purses, watches, scarves, shawls. We have a lot of people that come in to buy presents for people.
Really, like accessories?
Absolutely.
For clothes?
Yes.
And now, this big cabinet here, is this just because you didn't have room at your house, or?
No. This actually belongs to Steve Cram, who was my original landlord. Yeah. A wonderful old piece of furniture.
It's gorgeous.
Late 1860s, I believe.
And now, when you say that you make a lot of people up, you said that a lot of people bring things in and you upset them because it's not up to your quality. How do you balance that? Because I mean, I would assume that you get the same people that bring things in, they also buy. So is it a little tricky to keep them happy so that they buy, but
It can be. It can be very difficult. You're often walking on eggshells because we don't intend it to ever be personal. Yet sometimes people do get upset because it is very personal to them that they own these things and we're saying that we can't use them. But you know, I have to be the best judge of what is currently in style or what my customers that purchase from me will want.
Chris, where do you get most of your stuff? Is it from Falls Church, or is it people all in the metropolitan area?
We are lucky enough to have people from Falls Church as well as surrounding area, Washington, D.C., Maryland, and also, thank you, Mike, that's lovely.
It's beautiful.
Also, wrong way,
Yeah.
There we go.
I was trying to get the tag, you know.
We also have people who send clothes to us. We've had clothes sent from New York City, from California, from
Hawaii?
thank you.
I mean,
and as well as from Florida. We also have a website, www.newtoyou.net, and over here we have Juan, and Juan designed the website for us and did a wonderful job.
so you weren't just shopping here, you're actually...
No, I actually work here.
All right, good.
That's what I do. The website's been very good. You can give us a request list of what you're looking for, and we've got people from all over the country. I think we got an email from Iran a little while ago. Worldwide phenomenon, newtoyou.net. It's fantastic.
And I hear you have a band. It's time to plug it.
The name of the band is the Shakedowns.
What kind of music?
Wild rock and roll.
Here every Monday night?
Yeah, in this space actually. So clothes. We move all the clothes. Actually, we put them all on. We go all out.
Oh, we better not go there. And sweaters?
We resell whatever women wear.
But it has to be quality stuff.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm not going to name names, but I know at least 2 people that have brought their stuff here, and you rejected it. And they were bitter about that. How do you balance that?
That does happen. People do get very upset. And we've always tried, I get another hat now? We have always tried to, I don't think I'm a hat person. We have always tried to be diplomatic in turning people down, but some people do get their feelings hurt. These, I think, Mike, would look really nice on you. Lovely Christian Dior shoes. Oh, the purse is you.
So now, are the shoes? Do you get things besides from individuals? I mean, do you get like a shoe store or someone saying?
No, I haven't had
Never.
that. We find that the women that actually bring in their items have more than enough to supply us. And we get many, many new items also. People make buying mistakes. They buy something for special occasion. For some reason, they might never wear it. And so they bring it to us, and we sell it for them.
All right. So what's the current fashion for women for summer? Show me a couple outfits that are the besides what you're wearing right now.
I'm supposed to just grab one?
What?
Well, we have some lovely displays here,
Oh.
which we'll show you. Something nice for the office. Maybe a summer wedding that you might go to. Lovely white blouse with a skirt. Oh, and we have a nice wall display of different items. We have items on the wall here, if you want to see, Mike, that are all size 10, ladies' outfits, as well as hats, purses, and some shoes to nicely accessorize.
So like, that purse looks very unique.
This one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How long have you had it? Who brought it in? Who would most likely buy it?
Well, almost anybody.
Anybody.
Sure.
With taste.
Absolutely, yes.
And you have belts,
Yes, belts.
flags.
What else can you contribute, Juan? Anything else you can think of?
We're talking about fashion.
Yeah.
Current trends. Well, like this top here, this Tahari top. It's keeping in with the peasant look that's going on so much, the ruffles and such. But it's not so much of a young look because it's not those those really tiny things. We
Little
get the
tiny
white
ruffles and.
it's really tight like a Britney Spears. It's a more. I don't know. It's got the trend, but it's more of a classic look.
Mike, what do you think of this for Mike, this hat here?
I think I prefer this one. I think I could almost get away with.
You look Amish now. Look very
I'm
plain.
thinking. I am thinking. And I've noticed some the pictures. I've seen, I believe, a couple of those in advertisements in the news press.
Well, we like to think that fashion is fun, and that is our current ad that we're running at the moment, because we truly do believe that. We have a really good time here. We play wonderful music. People love to hear it. Lots of show tunes and maybe the blues or jazz. We like to mix it up a bit. And we have a good time working.
Do you have a newsletter? You send out a
We have a newsletter, but we haven't actually sent it out. We put it up on, we hand it out to customers, and we also put it up on our website. If you want to come over here, Mike, I'll show you a few pieces of jewelry that we have and some accessories.
Now, do you cover all price ranges?
We pretty much do cover all price ranges, and we try to get some really interesting pieces. Here we have a lovely lariat-style black beaded necklace that you would just wrap around your neck. Can't really see it against the black, but...
No, doesn't work.
And we also have some hand-blown little baby elephants that are from Germany. We also have on order some lucky pigs, which are a very big seller. They're little pink pigs with four-leaf clovers.
Any
They're
donkeys? You know,
No, I
this is
haven't
Falls
seen-
Church. There's not many elephants in Falls Church.
There aren't many
Lots
elephants?
of donkeys.
Oh,
You don't, got Don
Okay.
Byer.
well, maybe we'll find some
Edna
little donkeys
Frady.
to bring in. Whoops. Also, we have Hermes scarves. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them or not. This one is the mineral scarf. We resell a lot of these. They're beautiful hand silk screened scarves. These are always very popular. As well as, let's see.
So now, why do you have such a varying price range?
Well, we pretty much go with whatever comes in the door, the things that we choose. I mean, sometimes you might find a very simple seahorse pin in sterling and marcasite might be $22, and then you might also have a beautiful necklace, such as we have this one here, with our little seashell that's emeralds and rubies and pearls.
Wow, that's gorgeous.
Yeah, this is probably right around the turn of the century. Little bracelet dangly charm with some hearts on it for your sweetheart. We have some long gowns that we display back here. Here's a vintage gown, which is Pucci.
So Chris, let's why don't you try on some stuff? I could be here all day. This could be fun.
Well, I appreciate that, Mike, but you know, we actually are closed on Sundays and Mondays, and today is Monday. We're open normally from Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 5 and Thursdays until 7. But if you'd like to come back on another day when, let's say, we actually are open, I'd love to have you. It'd be really great to see you again. I love the surprise visit. Next time, if you could do it when we're open, it'd be much better.
All right.
But come on, right out this way.
I'll be back Tuesday, 10 o'clock.
I loved going to the village. Everybody knew everybody. I would say, "Hello, Mrs. Brown," or "Hello, Mr. Hawkshurst," and they would all know me and my kin.
Well, it's a beautiful day today, sitting just on the outskirts of the Gulch, otherwise known as the City of Falls Church. Every entrance to the city faces downhill, and here we are with my good friend Jerry Pressman, is a familiar face in Falls Church, and I'm going to do something nobody's ever done before. I'm going to hold merely a 10-minute conversation with Jerry, because Jerry has a lot to say, and he's been having a lot to say for a little over a decade. Jerry? How long have you lived in the City of Falls Church?
Well, I came to the city about 1992, right at the beginning of '92. So I'm in about 10 years.
Well, it seems like 10 years.
Yes, it does.
It does. Well, you've done so much in the 10 years. I think of the day you entered the city, you started making waves.
I did.
And there were good waves. And the city hasn't done all the things you've recommended. In fact, I don't know if they've done any of the things, but we're going to try to change that today with this 10-minute segment. So why don't you tell us about some of the things that you've been doing here in Falls Church?
Well, I wrote a few things down. My memory's starting to slip a little bit, so I wrote a few things down. And
I got those too, you know. We'll use those as crib notes.
All right.
Tell us about the city of Falls Church.
The city of Falls Church, I'm a little concerned about the city of Falls Church in terms of people knowing that we're here, about the image that we have in terms of attracting businesses. They know about our schools, but they don't know about the city.
Good, we got that one done.
And we got that takes care of that. I'm hoping that we can do something about putting us on the map, so to speak.
Good. Good. You have the map with you, don't you?
And I happen to have a map with me.
Okay, well, good. We're done with that one then.
I just
going to create some litter here for you to pick up in a few minutes.
This is a map of the city of Falls Church and the surrounding areas. And you'll notice here that we have 10 shopping areas in the city of Falls Church, but we're totally surrounded. So we know how Custer felt. We're surrounded by 25 business areas directly around us, within 1 mile, half of them, and the other half are within 2 miles.
Did you do that map?
I did this map.
That's really neat.
And
I want a copy of that.
You'll get a copy.
Okay.
And so I'm concerned that people don't know we're here, don't use our businesses.
Well, how can we get people to know we're here?
Well, we can do a lot of things.
Yeah, I bet you we can. And you have a suggestion.
And I'm glad you asked.
Okay, and it's right here on the crib sheet.
The first thing, we can do. You understand now, Falls Church, which is in Fairfax County, is 7 times the size and has 10 times the number of people.
And they're all bigger than us.
And they're bigger than us. And
get rid of that one.
They take care of that. Now the next thing we'll do is talk about the fact that there are no highway signs leading to the city of Falls Church.
What about the one right in back of us
No,
there?
I'm talking about signs that say City of Falls Church.
Oh, it doesn't say City of Falls Church. What do they say?
There are none. They say Falls Church.
Oh, okay.
And then you start to wander in this area that's 14 square miles.
Okay.
Looking for us.
I've wandered.
Our post office doesn't say City of Falls Church.
So we're going to have some signs, and they're going to be nice looking signs.
We're going to have signs. We have signs to the entrances to our city. A couple of them need to be moved because they're in the wrong places.
Oh, you mean they're over in Arlington?
Well, they're not in Arlington. They're in the entrance to the city, but they're in the wrong place.
Okay. Maybe we could put some on the trucks that go through here. We could put signs on them and just keep the trucks running back and forth.
Keep the trucks going back and forth. And so we're going to move these, and I want to talk about doing something with this island that we're on, and that's why we happen to be on this island.
Okay, well, let's talk about this island right now. Forget these
I want to forget about these cards, and I want to talk about making this island a lovely entrance to the city, moving the city sign that's over on the side of the road out into the middle.
Okay.
Making a major
How about putting it over where those cars are parked on the sidewalk?
The cars are parked. Aren't they lovely? What a lovely entrance to the city. I'm sorry that the balloons that hang off them are blown out, but they'll be out this morning to do that. It's just lovely. I love that as an entrance to the city.
Actually, we could just put paint Welcome to the City of Falls Church on those.
Welcome to the City of Falls Church.
Yeah.
Yes, we could.
And we could put on those telephone poles too. Well, tell us about. Let's get off signs and talk about the street work project you care about so much.
The street work signs.
Let's see, that's this one right here.
Let's see, what is that?
That's the street works project. People have to find.
People have to find us.
You already passed it, so you threw it away already.
All right. So now that remember, there's 6 signs here at the major entrances. I want another 6 signs, smaller ones, at the secondary road so people will know when they've come into the city.
Now, when you come into the city, every street goes downward. That's why they call us the Gulch.
That is correct.
Every street that comes in the city goes down.
There's another gulch. We'll talk about that later.
Okay, all right.
All right. So here we are on the traffic island. We did that.
Wow.
We did that. And this will be landscaped.
Okay, well, we're going to put in here some, we're going to paint it green with paint and
we're going to
put
have
some cement in.
We're going to do something lovely like they've done in this lovely business next door here.
Well, Sims did a good job on their landscaping.
Job. I want that right here.
I know one of our employees, Shirley Street, made them do it, and they did a great job, and we're the beneficiaries of it.
Wonderful.
So let's get Shirley Street up here and have her do this.
All right.
Even though I'm not sure this is in the city.
Well, if we're not,
okay,
we probably should be.
So when all these 50,000 cars come over here every day, it'll feel good coming into the city.
They'll say, this is a nice place.
Good.
I've arrived somewhere.
Okay. So when they come into the city, they get their newspaper.
Yeah,
and they get the
a
newspaper, and because we have news boxes all over the city.
You can get a newspaper anywhere in our town, and you can find news boxes lined up from one end of the city to the other.
Such as where?
Such as at the post office, such as in front of the drugstore, all over the place.
It's a lovely picture. I mean, I kind of love those boxes. Do you like them? They're nice colors.
I like the pink. The pink blends in. We spend a lot of money making.
Is there pink and orange next to each other?
There's orange. It's next to the pink.
Okay, purple.
And the purple.
Okay.
And they're all. And some of them are turned backwards, and some of them are laying on the side, and some of them have been empty for a year. But what's the difference?
That's good. Okay. So we're going to get rid of all these.
We're going to get rid of those.
All
and
right.
Good.
What
we're going to do
we'll
is
leave the Falls Church News press box there.
Oh yes, absolutely.
We'll leave that one there.
And we're going to get we're going to do what they did in the city of Fredericksburg. They have an ordinance they passed. They have lovely boxes to maintain, all in a color that's pleasing.
And Fredericksburg, that's in Virginia, right?
That's Fredericksburg, Virginia.
So we don't have to. We can't say we can't do it by Virginia law. We can do it.
Positively.
Let's do it. Okay, we're done with that one. Good.
Those are the boxes.
Benches.
All over.
We're supposed to do benches now. I have benches.
You want to talk about benches?
Yes, I want because these chairs are kind of flimsy that we're sitting on.
Well, if we were on a bench, it would probably be in the wrong place because all of those down in the city are in the wrong place.
But we planned it that way.
Well, they're on benches, and some benches have never been sat on.
Okay.
10 years they've never been sat on.
Let's go sit on some of those benches.
We're going to go down.
Okay, we'll sit on some of those benches. We'll do it right now.
I'm going to show you. Let's do it now.
Right now.
Okay, let's get up and do it.
Okay.
All right. Now, these benches are in the wrong places.
Okay.
There's benches that should be at bus stops that aren't. There's bus stops where there shouldn't be. So that we need to organize the benches that we have. They're very expensive. We can buy some additional ones.
They are expensive. I bought some.
Okay.
They're very expensive.
Well, you have an idea?
Yeah, they're about $1,500.
For a bench?
Yeah, for a bench. One that'll last more than a year.
Okay.
You don't go to local,
Well, then, if you have a bench, it would follow then that it ought to be used and in the right place. So that's all I can say about that.
Okay, well, we're going to move those benches, put them in the right places.
I think somebody took my lemonade.
Oh, I'm sorry. I probably drank it. Now, trash cans. You're real upset about trash cans. Tell me about that.
Have we moved the benches?
We've already moved the benches.
All right, we're going to move the benches.
We're on trash cans now.
Trash cans. Trash cans is the same problem we have with the benches. Many are in the wrong place. We've got some that are some sort of brown.
We're talking public trash can, not the ones in my yard.
Not the one in your. No,
okay.
No, some people have said the whole place is a trash can over there, but that's a whole nother story.
We won't talk about my yard.
No, that's a whole nother story.
Okay.
The trash cans are not uniform. We've got the lovely black ones, and then we've got some brown ones that were here when Abraham Lincoln came through town. I don't know where they got
I didn't know
those.
he liked brown trash cans.
Yes, he did.
That's
but
great.
Those times are past.
I thought they were blue.
We know that they're brown and they're ugly and once again they're all in the wrong places.
Okay. Well, we got to move on because we are at the 10-minute, so we got to go on. Crooked signs.
Crooked signs. We've got crooked signs. Our politicians aren't, but
our
signs are.
Yeah,
our signs are crooked. We have 100 crooked signs, bent this way, this way.
100.
We've got at least 100 crooked signs. All we need to do is send a crew out to straighten them up, but it gives a bad impression.
I'll help you. You and I go out. We'll do it, okay?
And straighten the signs.
Let's go straighten some signs.
All right.
Okay, good.
We're going to do that later on.
Unnecessary signs.
Unnecessary signs. We've got signs all over the place. We've got double signs, triple signs. Don't park, do park. Maybe you can park later. Come after 6, before 8.
Okay.
And it's crazy. It's not going to work out. It needs to be. We need to go through the city, find the signs, put them in the right places, and take away a ton of metal.
Dumpsters need fences.
Dumpsters need fences. Do they need fences? Am I talking of fences here?
Yeah.
There's ugly dumpsters sitting right out in the middle of our main street.
But what if I'm in my car and I'm going 50 miles an hour through the city, and I have a can, and I don't want to recycle it. I want to throw it away without stopping. If we have all these cans without fences and they're open, can I just throw it out the car and it automatically end in a dumpster?
You're talking about throwing trash on the ground?
No, I want to throw it up in the air and it lands in a dumpster.
It won't happen.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, we should put fences around it and close the tops, right?
Well, not the tops, it's okay, but just the visual part of it, a big, ugly steel dumpster sitting out in a parking lot.
Okay.
There are many of them all
rats
over
go
town.
in those things too, don't
the
they?
rats go in there.
Speaking of rats, how about West Nile virus and the mosquitoes?
West Nile virus. You're talking about a gulch? We'll show you a gulch. We'll show you a gulch where the West Nile. The word is out for the mosquitoes. Come to the city of Falls Church. So anyway, we're hoping we can do something about that.
Okay. What else do we got? Litter.
You want to talk about litter? No, I'm going to show you how we get litter
here. You're a mess.
I'm a man that knows how to get.
Well, you
take
have
care
a
of the litter.
special bag and wire holder.
You know what
You're
that is
incredible.
right there, Dave?
Yeah.
That's a tomato basket cut down.
Okay.
You cut that down. You take a plastic bag, 30 gallon.
Yeah.
You put it inside of that like that. You cover that over like that, and right away you got something to pick up litter. You get you an easy reacher like this. Don't interrupt me. Don't interrupt me when I'm doing litter. I get a little excited.
Now pick up some of those and put them
Now
away.
I'm going to pick these up and I'm going to put them in here. You understand what I'm saying?
Hey, let's go all over town doing this.
Now, I do go all over town. I'm getting sick and tired of it. Okay? All right, so this is what we're doing. This
And
is
you
how
get these at Brown's Hardware
you
store,
get
right?
these at Brown. You're allowed to say that?
Yes.
All right.
It's a positive business image.
You get these at Brown's Hardware. You also get the tomato things at Brown's Hardware. You cut it down.
You get the
go
bags at
over
Brown's
down.
Hardware?
You get the bags at Brown's Hardware. You get Mr. Brown at Brown's Hardware, and he'll pick the stuff up.
This is Jerry Pressman.
Okay.
The only, the one, the only, Jerry Pressman. Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Call me anytime.
Okay.
I heard music everywhere in town. A lot of folks had pianos and other instruments in their homes, and I could just walk up and down the street and hear people playing pianos and violins and singing. Some fellows were always sitting on the front steps of the stores down by the crossroads playing harmonica. Of course, there was music at church on Sundays and Wednesdays. A band always played at town picnics. One of my favorite things was dances at the Oddfellows Hall.
Ladies and gentlemen, there really is music everywhere in Falls Church City, and I have a really neat surprise for you. Today we're at the Bangkok Steakhouse, relatively new restaurant here in Falls Church City, and we're with Vikai and Cleo. I'm going to pronounce their last name Siribangkat, correct? Yes. Siribangkat.
We really community-oriented restaurant. That's what we have. We have, all kinds of programming in the future to have here. Besides the good food, steaks and Thai food, and vegetarian dishes, exclusive vegetarian dishes, and American kids menu, which most Thai restaurants don't have.
You see music videos. I think I was just hearing Louis Armstrong. You have a Jimi Hendrix table. We have a B.B. King table. We have music everywhere, not only in Falls Church City, but everywhere in this restaurant.
And I have a live American jazz bands coming here and perform here.
Chai, why jazz? Tell me about the Thailand and how you got interested in jazz music.
Well, jazz in Thailand is very popular, and I like it a lot when I was a kid. Now, but first I like the compositions by the Thai king, His Majesty, the Bhumibol Adulyadej, the Thai king, and he has a lot of popular compositions in Thailand. He played all year round. And then I like that a lot, and then they came here to America, and I just like jazz myself. I play some jazz tune and blues and stuff.
Have you heard the King of Thailand perform?
I heard it on videos and stuff like that.
Oh, yes.
On video.
Well, sometimes we show the king playing, throughout the dinner.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
He's very gifted. Matter of fact, he was born in Boston, Massachusetts.
You're kidding.
Yes.
It's amazing how little we know outside our own borders here, but Thailand, of course, I guess has adopted or has loved American music for a long period of time. And I welcome it. I think it's a wonderful idea.
And he used to jam with Benny Goodman, Louis Armstrong,
Wow.
Stan Getz, Jack T. Gordon, and Stan Getz. I mean, these big guys, they used to go to Thailand and jam with them. Some people have some question about why jazz in the Thai restaurant. So they really have to make it very short. Like, we use jazz as a music, as a theme, jazz and blues music as a theme for this restaurant. That because I play music, I like jazz and blues a lot. I play some blues myself, And the regular steaks we have in this country, kind of, with Thai people think it's kind of a little bland. So
Yeah.
we jazz it up by Thai spices
Right.
and seasonings and so on. And we use a jazz. That's why we use jazz as a theme. Jazz up the steaks.
That's really clever. Well, I mean, everything that I've ever enjoyed here has a distinctive taste, and it's unusual. This is a Thai tea.
Thai iced tea.
Thai iced tea. The Bangkok Steakhouse is available for meetings, for small office groups, for special performances, and I wish you could enjoy the atmosphere throughout. I mean, it's large. It has two very large rooms from back of the street to the front. The location is very convenient. I don't think I mentioned it's 926 West Broad Street, right across from the Old Foxes Music Company. And for my part, I want to welcome you to Falls Church.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sometimes I would walk to and from the village along the roads, but I loved to walk the trails and alleys behind houses, through fields and woods. It just seemed more special.
The trail we're going to be walking down today in Falls Church doesn't have a name as far as I know. It's a brand new trail that was just built in the last 2 years, a long 4-mile run from South Washington Street. And it's right next to the City of Falls Church and Arlington's Fire Station number 6. And we're going to be walking upstream from South Washington Street, also known as Lee Highway, up toward Little Falls Street. You'll see here the sign you can see as you come over 66 from Arlington. Also the Chesapeake Bay Partner Community sign that the city was awarded for some of its water programs we did here, water protection programs. But as we walk up the trail here, it's a gravel trail that was built. There used to be a fire station right here, and it was in the floodplain, and every time it rained hard, the water would literally flood right through the firehouse. We were hoping that the firehouse was going to be built up on higher ground, but a townhouse development precluded that in the early 90s. And so they were forced to build the firehouse, rebuild the firehouse in the floodplain again. They had to build up dirt. And in order to allow for the water to remain in the channel rather than flooding the firehouse, they had to open a pipe. And we have some excellent footage here of how that was done. It's called daylighting. And it's an innovative process to undo some of the damage we've caused to streams in the last, maybe 50, 60, 70 years. By daylighting this stream, it is now exposed, as they say, to daylight, which has good elements and bad elements. One is it kills the E. coli bacteria in the stream, allows life to regenerate. Unfortunately, what we want is shade from the trees, so it's like a spotted daylight, because this now, today is a code orange day. Yesterday was code red for pollution and heat, and the water gets so hot down there that it cooks any life that's in there. It can get 90, 95, 100 degrees, and aquatic life can't live in there. We have a nice bird cooling off there in the stream right now, but the basic critters that clean up the stream life can't do it. As we walk along here, you'll notice some of the native trees that were planted, the sycamore tree, here's a redbud tree, we have a red maple here. They have to be set back just enough so that when the water rushes through here during a storm, that it doesn't tear the young trees out, because they just have their little root balls. They're not firmly rooted. Now this is a severe drought we're in right now. We're filming this in the month of June, and notice there is still water in here. So there's a lot of springs that feed this about a mile up above, and but when it starts raining, it's quite amazing to come down here and see the rush of water coming up to where we are now. It's a raging torrent. It's all coming out of storm drains, and there are storm drain outlets all along here that drain from parking lots, rooftops, the whole area, and water gushes out of essentially 300 outfalls into 4 Mile Run. And it's quite an experience. It is terrible for water quality because it picks up all of the oil and brake fluid and rubber particulates from the tires. So it's interesting to walk along this trail during different times. If you come during a rain, don't leave the trail because it could be dangerous. All the plants along here are native that were planted on this side. On the other side, a wall had to be put up because a car dealer or car repair company owns the land right up to the edge of the water. Now, keep in mind that was underground in a pipe, and so that had to be engineered that way. As we go down the stream, again, we still have the native trees being put in and shrubs on this side. On the other side is, again, private property, commercial, industrial property, and there's a lot of garbage, used cars, junk over there. You can see some of it right there, just coming right into the stream. All this concrete that has just been thrown down into here, and that's not a natural stream bed down there. That's a lot of detritus, a lot of concrete, a lot of bricks just thrown down in there. There's a lot of sediment that comes off of the comes out of the storm drains, and it essentially smothers any possibility of aquatic life returning until we can start working on this. Now these sycamores will grow real large and put shade over the stream, the kind that's natural on small streams like this, and possibly if we start working on our storm drain system and let these trees grow, this stream could recover. Again, we have the firehouse just onto the right of the stream. Here's a tupelo tree that was planted. Tupelo means swamp tree, so it's good to plant right next to a stream. And you can see right here, you can smell the car paint right now. This is a car painting company, and you can really get the strong odor of the vapors right here, right next to the stream, of the car paint. And you can see the erosion. Every time it rains, the water just rushes down here and cuts away. Eventually that whole embankment there where that silver car is going to collapse unless something is done about that. And there's more and more development upstream of here, including highways, but also private property. And every time that's paved, more water rushes down with each storm. It runs off the properties quicker. And look at all the all the cement that's just thrown down there. You can see the openings over there in the fence. Things can just be tossed in. You can see stuff that's been litter that's been brought down. Mike Hamilton, my cameraman and editor, and I have made a film on 4 Mile Run. You can see some of the elements of this, what some of the issues are with the stream by clicking on www.novaregion.org. And we'll show it up on the screen here, the whole thing. You can write it down. And you can see, if you have the right server and software, you can see 6 minutes of the film. Otherwise, you can purchase it through Community TV by calling 703. Calling actually my home number, 703-532-0884. As we go along here, walking up, you can see a storm drain coming out right there that drains the industrial area. Anything that's thrown out onto the pavement of the industrial area in the front goes down the storm drains and is discharged immediately into the stream without any filtering, without any treatment. Any liquids, any litter, anything discarded onto the pavement when it rains goes right into there. Now we're coming to an area that has a little more shading to it, and gives a little more shade into the stream here. It's kind of interesting down there. It's flowing over a clay bed right there. You don't see the sediment so much. That's actually what some people call marine clay. It's a gray clay. A lot of Native Americans used to come here, indigenous tribes used to make pottery out of that. But just in a matter of a few feet, the whole stream bed changes radically. And it's interesting walking along here. Every few weeks, if you walk along this trail, you'll see changes in the stream bed because it's such a dynamic stream because of all of our development upstream and all the storm drains that flush the water from rainwater runoff of pavements into it so quickly. It just really is a dynamic system. And we're coming to the end of this trail. It'd be nice if this trail had a name and we could call it something. But I'll call it 4 Mile Run Trail. Nice old sycamore tree here. It's amazing. That's just growing right out of the side with a lot of cement around it. It's a tough tree. You can't see it this time of year, but right in this area, just as we come to the end of the trail toward Little Falls Street, and on the left is this area between two buildings in the industrial area. And you can't see it this time of year. It just looks like a lot of vegetation. But in that opening, there's a huge, like 5-foot pipe coming out, and that drains all of the storm water from the northern side of Cherry Hill Park, where City Hall is, and all the way down Little Falls Street, part of Washington industrial area and a residential area and a municipal area, and all the streets. And if you come down during the winter, all the leaves are gone, of course, and you can really see the storm drain pipe. And if you come down during the storm, it's quite an experience to see the water rushing out of there. Now, as we come up here to the end, this links into the Little Falls Street. But you have to be careful when you come out onto the road because fire engines, and there's just now a police car come roaring past, and so you have to watch yourself. It's a little, what I would call unsafe, coming around this corner. So be very careful, but there's a very interesting series of sights as you go over this bridge and you walk right over 4 Mile Run. And it looks very different on the two sides. When you come up on one side here, it's all highly vegetated. You see a lot of litter down there, and standing water, and sometimes you see little areas of oil. And when you come over on the other side, you see the W&OD bridge, the bike bridge. That's where the old bridge was, the railroad that was built here in 1858 to bring passengers from both DC and Alexandria up toward Vienna. And actually during the Civil War, this was where the trains went to carry the soldiers to Manassas. And the red sandstone foundation is what's remaining of that bridge. And that's the original stone that was used in the foundation for the bridge. The bridge has changed. And this has all been channelized, engineered to hold the water during heavy storms so they could build the townhouses in back of it. That's again where we wished that the firehouse had been built. It would be in higher ground, and we could have had a better recovery of the stream if that had occurred. But so be it. Well, this is the 4 Mile Run Trail you can walk on. I encourage everybody in the area to do this. It's one of your best ways of looking at 4 Mile Run. And whether it's in dry, drought, orange and red code days like that today, or if it's during a storm. But if it's being a storm, don't go near the water.
One of the most interesting things to me is that right in the middle of Falls Church, right in the middle of one of the fastest urbanizing areas anywhere, we have magnificent old houses and trees, beautiful music still in homes and on the streets, marvelous places to gather, and trails to return home on. It makes me wonder why these wonderful qualities of village life remain here in Falls Church.